Are you ready for the ultimate bikepacking weekend adventure? Join us for an unforgettable self-supported bikepacking trip through Southwest Virginia. The Grayson Gravel Pie Bikepacking Adventure travels along the Virginia Creeper Trail, the beautiful gravel roads of Grayson County, Virginia, and the New River Trail. All lodging and camping arrangements are included, along with daily routes and guides riding along with you. This self-supported adventure offers resupply opportunities every 20 miles for your food and water needs. Find out more at graveltraveldirt.com.
You're listening to Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brian.
And I'm Joey.
And I'm Jess.
This is episode 171 of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt. If you are new here, this is the podcast where we talk about gravel bikes, adventure biking, bikepacking, bike camping, or just playing bikes. Now, we're excited tonight on this episode to have Cynthia Frazier, the Watt Wagon, because that's what she goes by on Instagram, Watt Wagon, which I think is a really super cool Instagram name. She is going to join us to talk about Gravista and the 2022 Rockstar 250, where she not only finished first, but she did it in less than 24 hours and set the fastest known time for the gravel route.
Do you think by the end of this episode she will be a new follower of mine on Instagram?
Maybe, if you ask.
Just have to be cool enough so you guys pull it together.
Okay. Can you be cool?
Yeah.
Joey, can you be cool?
I don't know. Can you guys be cool enough?
I don't know if I can be cool.
I can mute Joey.
Thank you. Can you guys not screw this up for me?
You know, one way we would not screw things up, Jess, you can never screw things up
if you
wear a Cutaway USA jersey, because Cutaway offers premium cycling apparel born where, Jess?
In the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Cutaway is an industry leader using innovative fabrics combined with clean, bold designs. Make sure to visit their website at cutawayusa.com to see all the stuff and paraphernalia, Joey. When you reach the checkout, use the code GTD20 to take 20% off your entire order, and that is an offer that is a special discount just for our listeners. Folks, this is a bit of an unusual episode because
it's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
You can't put your hand in front of your mouth when you do that.
I know, but I was singing. I was pretending with my microphone, but I'm really having a microphone right in front of me.
So Joey is away at fish camp.
Well, algebraically speaking, but I am here.
Yeah. But so we're actually doing something. Have we ever done this before? Have we ever recorded 2 episodes?
No, we were
one
smart.
night?
We thought ahead this time.
Yeah, so we're recording 2 episodes, and it won't be released until regular schedule. But
2 episodes at the same time.
Yeah, we're not going to have our usual like what did we do last week and Strava Club and all that other kind of stuff.
Well, Brian, I've been at the Catskills for a day and a half. You know, I've been out in the river.
What are you drinking over there now?
Well, we're probably passing around some Bullet, if you know what I mean. But no, probably Tuesday night. But I am drinking a Polar Seltzer because I already had one of these whiskey mules.
Yeah, and I'm having a Polar Seltzer because you gave me one of those ranch water, muddy ranch water things. It was actually really good. I did enjoy that.
Why are you such a hater?
No, I am. I love it. I loved it. I'm going to stop and get spicy nuggets and spicy ranch water on my way home.
You're going to have some spicy ranch water.
All right, well, stick around, folks, for Cynthia Frazier. All right, joining us now, Cynthia Frazier. Welcome back. It is so cool to have you back on the podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. Excited to be back. It's been a while since, I don't know, before COVID, I guess.
It was pre-COVID. I think we had, you got one event off before COVID, right? Wasn't that the way it was?
No, I wish. No, we had to cancel. Yeah. So I've had Gravista now last year in June.
Okay.
So planned it for 3 years, or planned it for 2 years. Now planning on the 3rd year.
Not funny, but hey, we're all coming out of this on the other side of it better people. Yeah. You know, there's so much cool technology and things that are coming out of it. So where are you calling us from tonight, Cynthia?
I am calling you from my house in Lexington, Virginia, and I live kind of close to the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Nice.
Mountainy area. Super pretty.
Nice.
Yeah.
You were on the podcast a while ago, but give our listeners, because we've picked up a lot of new listeners. Give our listeners a little background about yourself, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah. I started, bikes. I started bikes when I was in college. I'm from the DC area. Went to James Madison and started triathlon. Don't judge me for it. And found the bike, and eventually realized that I just like riding bikes and got into road racing, and then was doing multi-day crit races and some UCI road racing, and kind of got burnout. And right around that time is when the boom of gravel was at its at the very beginning. And my road team, we kind of decided to follow that trend. And 2019, we were we were a gravel team. We were actually the first women's gravel team. I guess in the U.S., really probably in the world, honestly, because gravel is way more American than anywhere else. But awesome. Yeah, that was a cool thing. So we did a ton of gravel racing in 2019. I raced a ton that year, did a lot of really cool races, more like local-ish races, but did a couple of bigger ones, did Dirty Cans at the time, but obviously now Unbound 200. And then obviously 2020 was COVID. So, in between all of that time, I decided I would plan a gravel race, and that's when Gravista was born. And I guess towards the end of the COVID time, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with racing, and kind of got into the longer distance stuff. Mm-hmm. I really liked the 10 plus hours or just being out on the bike all day. And that's sort of how I got into, basically it was like, I'm going to do Unbound 350, and just kind of decided I didn't want to do the 200 like everyone else was doing, which is funny because not everyone else is doing it. But I decided to do that, and that was the first challenge. And since then, I've kind of been finding myself spending a lot more time on my bike, but really enjoying it. So that's where I am now, planning bike races and riding my bike for a long time when I have the time.
Nice. What do you do is bikes your real world? Or do you do something else in real world?
Yeah, it's sort of part-time, I guess. Mm-hmm. I am a wedding videographer, and I do some small business advertising videography as well.
Cool.
Your Instagram page is gorgeous. Your pictures are amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate
welcome.
that. Thanks.
Jess is our social media guru over here.
Just in my part-time. Full-time, I'm a teacher, but in part-time, I get to do social media.
But she keeps us on our toes, yeah. Yeah,
that's right. She knows all of the ins and outs. She knows everything going on.
I can't even figure out how to use... I'm not going to go there because these guys make fun of me. Before we talk about Gravista, I want to deep dive into Rockstar 250. I mean, what a massive undertaking. 250 miles with over 27,000 feet of elevation. I'm cringy when I hear that kind of
When I hear it out loud, I'm like, wow, that's really a lot.
Before we go into the event, how do you even begin to go about training for an effort like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd love to know the answer. Really, I sort of just knew that I needed to do some long days in the saddle. The reason why I did Rockstar this year, and I also did it last year for the first time, that was my first ever ultra race, was because I needed to practice riding through the night, because I wanted to do the Unbound XL 350, and you have to ride through the night. And so I had done a bunch of research that said you need to know how to ride through the night, and so that was why I started, or that's why I planned for Rockstar. So I was using it to train for another big ultra, so I really had no idea what I was doing, and I still, honestly, I don't really know what I'm doing.
That's interesting though, because if you think about it, they kind of build on each other. Mm-hmm. If you undertake one, I mean, it's almost like you got to just go ahead and dive in for the first one, and you learn lessons, and then you adapt, and then you do the next one. So it's almost like the events have to build upon themselves. You actually use the events to train for the events. That sounds kind of backwards in a way, but It feels like that's kind of what you're saying. What in the world do you eat the day before an effort like that?
I can't even remember what I ate the day before. A lot of food.
Yeah.
I probably eat too much, to be honest with you. Actually, the day before this time, I got a new bike like 3 days before the race, and so the day before the ride, I was just running around crazy trying to get everything ready. So I probably actually didn't eat enough this time. But normally I'll eat like 4 meals, like 4 full meals, and eat late too, even though they say like don't eat before bed. But that way you have your body is like constantly having food to burn, I guess.
I know Joey's go-to. You've talked about this before. You used to do the guacamole. Didn't you talk about doing guacamole before big events? And
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is pasta. I always do pasta, but I try to avoid the cream sauces. I do the pasta with like some tomato sauce, stuff like that. So what do you do on the bike for nutrition?
I try and eat a lot of real food. So in training, I've done like some rides where you're out for 12 hours, and you go to a gas station and you're like the gas station, like, well, what am I going to eat? And I've gotten better at going into the gas station and knowing what I want to buy at the store. Like I used to just go in and be like, well, I'll have Skittles and then maybe I'll have these gummy bears. But now I'm like, okay, I'm looking for Kind bars and bananas if they have any fruit, actual real food. You can go so much longer and have so much less GI distress if you can find things that are like truly, I guess, real food first kind of thinking. And I honestly, I didn't need food until I was at like mile 150. Well, I guess I did buy some food at the first gas station stop, but I bring PB&Js with me. I made like I made like a coffee cake loaf of bread that was really good, and stuff like that, like fig bars, the like real fig bars, that you can buy at Costco that come in like massive packs.
That's a really good thing to what you said. Going in what it is you're looking for, because it is so easy to just fall into you also waste a lot of time.
So much time.
Just kind of wandering around, and if you have a plan, you kind of know. Now, Rockstar, there's no aid stations or anything like that. Is it a roll your own kind of support thing? Yeah,
totally. And Unbound is like that. So again, building on that perfect training, there are 2, they call them C stores in the like ultra world. So if you ever hear someone say a C store, it means a convenience store, which in the East Coast, we would never say that. I would just say a gas station. But anyway, I like when I'm rolling up to it, before I even get there, I'm already thinking in my head, okay, I'm going to get a bottle of water. Like I'm going to find, do they have coconut water or do they have Gatorade, or like, I'm already like, these are the things I'm going to get. And then that's what I get. And there's only 2 stops, 2 like good on the course stops at Rockstar. So the first one was like I forget, maybe like mile 65. And then the second one was like mile 150 or 160. And I actually got real food. I went to Burger King and got a Beyond Burger. It was a little bit off course, but it was, oh my God, it was so good.
Now, we talk about this a lot here. What's your preferred convenience store, Wawa, Sheetz, or Royal Farms?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, in Lexington, we don't have any of those. We've got like, mom and pop gas stations, but I would probably say, well, we have a Sheetz actually. We do have a Sheetz. So Sheetz. Yeah.
We
Totally.
are very much what Jess is very much in Wawa camp.
Yeah, you're in Wawa land over there.
And Joey and I are firmly entrenched in the world of Sheetz. Isn't that correct, Jessica?
That is correct.
It's nice on a ride.
I love Wawa. It used to be my favorite restaurant growing up as a kid.
She's from Jersey.
Makes sense.
And Jess doesn't eat when Joey's away. We just learned that out today as well. How much during the course, now, a spoiler, everybody, is a sub 24-hour finish, which is ridiculous. How much time did you stop? What's your stopping time?
I would say I after looking at the numbers, I think it was like maybe 45 minutes of stop time, which
Wow.
is maybe it was like 40 minutes. I stopped too much. I had some like mishaps where I was like having to stop a couple times and well, I mean with any ultra race, like time is precious, but sometimes you just have to stop and fix something on your bike, you know?
Yeah.
We spent 40 minutes at Dunkin' Donuts yesterday mid-ride. That was like 50 miles.
40-mile ride. Yeah, we spent 40 minutes at Dunkin' Donuts. That's interesting. I well, like events, like when we did Croatan, I skipped the first rest stop, and I've kind of started to get into that camp of, you know what, my water bottles are full when I leave. 25 miles down the road, I'm not going to have to refill the water bottle yet. So it's just kind of like, why do you waste that time? So I get it, but
I love stopping at all the aid stations. I love talking to people. I fill up my 900 water bottles. I eat like 5 or 6 peanut butter and jellies. I go for the event. So,
you jump out of the way of the racers doing their business.
Yeah, I was gonna say these I don't know. I know you're a female. However, these guys on this Croatan course, they I'm gonna put it bluntly, whipped it out and peed right off their bike, and I was like, "What do the girls do?"
That's when you have the Velocio bibs and you just go hide behind a tree and you can pee. You just pull the back down and then yep, they're the best. The fly free, so good.
Now, what kind of stuff do you pack on the bike? What kind of weight were you carrying, and what was there?
Yeah, good question. I don't know what the weight was. I'm not a weight weenie, so I'm not checking and if I don't put this in, then, I definitely brought more than I needed just in case I had an issue on my bike, flat, or, I had an extra derailleur hanger and I had chain link pliers and all the things that you might need. But I have 3 water bottles. I actually lost a water bottle about halfway through, which I was kind of bummed about. But I have 3 water bottle cages, and then I had a top tube bag where I put a lot of food, and also my external battery. And I'm trying to think, I have a top tube bag that goes underneath that runs the length of the top tube. So I had an extra jacket in there, and I had knee warmers, arm warmers, and I had extra sealant. I had 2 tubes. Just all the things that if an oh crap moment happened. I also carried in my bag was the Hot Foot Savior cream, which is this. People were so excited to hear about this.
It's my next question. CBD cream for your feet. I just have to know more about that.
Oh my God. Okay, so the only reason I had ever heard of it was my best friend and teammate Rachel. She and I did Unbound XL together last year. We rode it together, and I had the worst hot foot of my life. I did not think I was going to be able to finish, and she was a savior, and she brought a little small container with this CBD cream. It's got other things in it. It's got peppermint oil and menthol, or I don't know. I forget exactly what it has in it, but I'm not a spokesman or anything. It saved my life many times since then. But I put it on my feet. I literally my feet were cold because the wind was going through my shoes, and because they were kind of sweaty. And so the wind was coming through, and I had the CBD cream on my feet, and it cooled my feet down, and then I was able to finish. I mean, we were only at of 350 miles, we were only at 220. I still had 130 miles left, so it was amazing. If you ever have hot foot, give it a try.
In your list, Nature CBD?
Nature. I'm not really sure how you pronounce it.
And it had some sort of peppermint or something in it. That's a pro tip right there, Joey. Pro tip. So you would Dynaplug or stand darts, or what do you carry?
Actually, I use the standard little bacon thingy.
The straight up bacon, okay.
And Muck-Off makes these bar ends that have a poker integrated into it. So you just pull the bar end out, and I actually have a bacon from Muck-Off They're actually black instead of brown, but it basically goes, I already have one ready to go. So if I
Preloaded.
have a flat, I just like pull it out, stick it in. So that's I haven't had to use it. I actually had a really bad slash recently, but there was no saving. There was no saving on that one. I had to use a wrapper to get out of there. But yeah, the little pokey thing from Muck Off is super cool.
So you mentioned a new bike just a few days before a big event like that. Let's do a bike check. What was the bike?
Yeah, so new bike frame is similar to my existing bike, so that's why I was like okay with riding it. I normally wouldn't be like, let me just ride 250 miles on a brand new frame that I'm not used to, but the geometry was pretty similar.
Okay.
So they're both Exploros. It's from they're both 3Ts. It's from the Exploro line. So the new bike is the Explorer Ultra, and the color that I have is copper,
Seen pictures
which
of
is
that. Sharp.
it's so cool. It is
pretty.
super cool. It's a matte, so it's just like it's really pretty. And it has the ability to have a wider tire than the Explorer Race, which is the existing frame I have.
Okay.
So yeah, I've got on it pretty wide tires. I was running 40C with some tread there, Schwalbe G1 all-around tires, and of course they have tan sidewalls because on a copper bike you gotta have tan sidewalls.
Yeah, of course.
And a 3T bar. This one I was excited. I have always raced on a 38 on the road, and so I finally got back to a 38 C bar, which is pretty narrow, but I was excited to get that back, and I was so happy about it. At first, I was like, this is amazing. I missed this from road racing, being so nimble,
Right.
which is kind of funny to put it on something like an Ultra, where you're like, it's meant to be an adventure bike, but it was really good.
You sure did have an adventure on that bike, right?
Yeah.
And like, look about all the new adventures you're gonna have on that bike.
Yes, many.
What's the group set?
It is a SRAM Axis. This one, it's a mullet build. So my cassette was a 10 to 52, and I think the front chainring is a 40. Yeah, it's a 40.
Okay.
So lots of climbing gears.
Lots of spread on that.
Yeah.
And computer?
Wahoo is our team's navigation this year, which is amazing. I do a lot of riding where you need routes, and the Element series, they have really good routing features. Connectability, being able to pull things from Ride with GPS really easily and stuff like that.
So obviously you and the bike got along.
We did.
Now, did the bike enjoy the swim? Because I know
No.
the swim is
I don't think so. Maybe it did. I don't know. It might have been hot. Yeah, I went for a little bit of a swim. I don't know, maybe it was like 1 a.m, and I did the route last year, so I remember that there were these water crossings, and I actually took a lot of times if I saw that it was deep. Last year it was super cold. I took my shoes and my socks off and walked through them instead of riding so that I didn't have cold feet. Last year I actually had to buy a hoodie at a gas station, and I wore it all night because it was so cold.
nice.
But that's a story for another day. So I was, this time I saw this water crossing, and it looked really deep, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to walk through this. So I kind of went to the side, and I picked the wrong side. I didn't realize how deep it was. And when I got 2 steps in, and the current was so strong, and my bike was on the left side, and the water was coming from the left side, and it was slippy, and I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden my bike was like floating, like knocked me over. We're both in the water. It was a shock because it was like I was soaking wet, and I was, of course, all of my items in my pockets, and I'm freaking out. And I got out of the water, and I thank goodness I got out on the right side, but I was so disoriented. I almost went to backwards where I had came from, because I didn't really know where I was. But anyway, I got out of the water and checked to make sure my phone was okay. I was like, oh, thank God Phone was okay. I had my other items in my pocket that were also still okay. And then I realized that the top tube bag that I had flipped open, and my external battery that I used to charge my lights and my computer and my my InReach tracker had just fallen out of the top tube, along with the cord too, and probably there was some food in there, but the external battery was the worst. I had just bought it. It was like a fancy one that's like for Dynamo Hub that, does all these cool things. It was like $100, and I had just bought it. I was like, gosh, darn it.
Now, did you still have it, or did it float away?
I couldn't find. I didn't even go back to look because it was running so fast and it was dark, and I was like, there was a drop after the crossing, and I was like, it's probably halfway down this river or wherever this, it was deep. It was not it was rough. So anyway, I had very little battery left in my lights.
It probably happened pretty fast too.
It was so fast. I like blinked, and all of a sudden I was like running out of the water with my bike. So
that's actually really scary, especially if you consider the fact that it happened in the dark. That's really scary.
It was scary. The thing I was just I got down. I was super down at that time because I was like, I just lost like my charger, and I still have, I think it was like 1 a.m. I still had like 5 or 6 hours left, but I had to change my mindset. And I recently read this book, or listened, because when you ride your bike a lot, you listen to books on tape. But it's by I think he was a Navy SEAL, that was called Embrace the Suck.
Is it
And
David
it's all about
Goings?
What'd you say?
Is it something David is his first name?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going.
He's anyone who's a Navy SEAL is a baller. I mean, just crazy. But I've been telling people about that book, and I've been trying to preach it because it's such a good, things suck sometimes, and you just have to like embrace it and move forward. And I was in this position like, okay, I'm going to embrace the suck. This kind of sucks right now, but here I am, we're moving forward, and I made it through. I finished, and my goal, like was mentioned earlier, I went into 24 hours, and that was my goal, to beat the 24-hour mark. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So what kind of stuff did you learn from this adventure that you'll take forward into something like Unbound?
I chose not to run. I have a dynamo wheel, and I chose not to run it for weight reasons. Even though I said I'm not a weight weenie, other people were like, you don't need the dynamo. You don't need it. You just bring an external battery. So I will always use a dynamo wheel from now on. Because this is not the first time where my lights have died or gotten close to dying. Last year, my cord that I brought actually didn't fit in my light. And thankfully I brought 2 lights, but it didn't go in, so I couldn't charge either one of them. I got through and it was okay, but like always will use a dynamo. So anyway, that's for anyone who's like an ultra endurance person. But other things that I learned were, I don't know. I kind of blank out what happens during these events when it's just like going and going.
Yeah. So what is a Scandinavian swimmer from Trader Joe's?
Okay, so I love gummies, but most gummies are terrible for you. They're like, they've got like red dye number whatever and yellow dye number 17. So Trader Joe's got these amazing gummies, and I think they're made of like tapioca or something, so they're not as bad for you. They're still bad for you, but
I might have to look those up.
They're so good. They make a sour one. They're to die for. They're so good that when I go to Trader Joe's, which isn't very often because we don't have one, I have to drive to Charlottesville to go to it. Literally, I drive an hour to go to Trader Joe's. They are sometimes sold out because they're so good.
Huh.
So if you like gummies, I would suggest trying them. They're delicious.
And the other thing on your food list that jumped out at me was the mango balls.
Oh yeah, somebody recently told me about them. Well, when you eat mango, like the strips, the dried mango, it's super good, but like sometimes it's kind of hard to eat.
Yep.
These little mango balls, they're like the size of, I don't know. They're pretty small, but they're bigger than like a pea. They're a good bite, and they're soft, so you can chew them. So it's a lot easier. Oh, another thing I eat while riding is dried fruit. That's something I didn't mention, but dried fruit is a really good thing to eat.
So real
Yeah.
food. That's kind of the takeaway. Is real
Yeah.
food. Real food
Yeah.
before, because I'm the kind of person I cannot do. Can you guys the goo things and the packets? I can do the.
Not often anymore.
I can't.
Oh, I can't do it.
I can't even. The texture of goose itself
Oh.
drives me
Ugh.
nuts. Like
Yeah.
exactly
Makes me want to
that
vomit
react.
thinking
Yes.
about it.
She would like dry heave when I used to eat them.
Like I can't even when Joey eats one, like sucks it out. Like I can't even like fathom wrapping my head around eating something like that.
No, I do the scratch gels. Like I can do those.
Nah.
I do those. But the
Those little cliff things because I found them yesterday. I don't know how old they were. If they were
did
expired.
you find them on the road while we were riding?
No.
No. Okay, good. I'm glad.
But I do. I mean,
But I
believe
usually
me,
find stuff on the
I am
road.
not riding 300 miles. However, if I do ride, I usually take a Lara bar. I take Kind bars, just portable things. When I first met Joey, I used to take sweet potatoes. Like there used to be,
that's a
like,
great
this
idea.
Sweet
Yeah.
potato in my back pocket, just because it was just a pure carb. That was I
Yeah.
just used to eat it like an apple, just because.
Yeah.
Wrap it in tinfoil and throw it in my back pocket.
Just thought it was a triathlete thing.
It's not a triathlete thing, Joey.
It's a Dustin Clyde thing. Doesn't
Yeah.
he do the sweet potatoes a lot? Yeah. Here's the sweet potatoes. It's good stuff. That's good stuff. You know, that's just a really cool story.
Yeah.
And so now that we didn't even mention that Rockstar was just within a couple of weeks ago. It was like April 23rd, something like that.
Yeah. Just 2 weeks ago or two.
Now, how many people started that?
I actually don't know. I really need to. Somebody was asking me that the other day. They have 3 routes. They have a paved route, which is 150 something miles. They have a gravel route, 250, and then the trail is 270. And the Forest Service has these rules where if you're going to do an event on Forest Service and you have more than 75 people, you have to have a permit. So they have to do it 74 people or less. But I think maybe it was like 50.
Okay.
Maybe something like that.
That's a big undertaking for anybody to want to take on. I think Wehan did it.
He did. Yeah, I saw his wife out filming. I never actually saw him though.
Yeah. I'm hoping to catch up with him at an event sometime soon. I don't know
Nice.
if he's doing Loudon next week or this weekend. I'm not sure.
This week.
Yeah. What's coming up for you before we go to your event? What are some future events for you that you're
The
going to be
race
riding?
calendar.
Yeah, I am planning on doing Unbound XL, like I mentioned earlier. That's beginning of June. So that's like a month away, basically a month from today.
Okay.
I can't believe that. Oh my gosh. And then Gravista's the end of June, so nothing between Unbound and that. And then I'm thinking I'm signed up for Grusk, the Venti.
Okay.
I wanted to do it last year, but after after my race, Gravista, I hadn't ridden. It was like the perfect storm. Unbound, no riding, putting on a race. And then, so I think this year though, I do really want to do the Venti, for Grusk. I think that could be fun. Have you guys ever done Grusk?
Joey and I were talking about it.
Yeah, we are going to be
I've
there
done
this
it
year, I
once,
believe.
and I might go out and take photos and.
I'm
hang out
riding
with
it
Travis.
this year. I'm riding it this year. I've talked
should.
about wanting to ride it, and just it's never really worked out. And this year, I think my schedule is going to allow me to do it.
I'm
Nice.
just coming out after I get off work.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to raise my hand before I start speaking. Sorry, friends. But that is my birthday weekend. So
Oh.
I should...
Wait, what day is your birthday?
7/11, July 11th.
Oh, mine's July 10th.
Oh, man.
that day.
Almost short birthday twinsies.
Yeah, we're basically
Close,
twinsies.
basically.
So I'm going to be riding it with a sash if you would like to partake in that fun.
Oh, that would be
activity.
fun.
And
Yes.
I have cat ears on my helmet from my friends at Dirty Kitten. So
Oh.
I might need a little tiara too to go on top of
You are-
everything.
Tiara?
So a little tiara.
You've never been that type of person.
I know, but if I'm going to do
Holy
grass,
cow.
should be. That's awesome.
somebody says it's like a gravel ride up Spruce Knob, right? Is that what
Yeah.
Chris
Yeah,
said?
stands
that's
for.
what it stands for.
So I was wearing the T-shirt somewhere because Joey must have had one, and I was talking about how I don't like climbing hills, and somebody looked at me and they're like, "But you're wearing a Grusk T-shirt." I was like, "But I didn't do it. Like I just have it. Like I didn't do this ride. Like So
We need to get you up to unpaved too, Cynthia.
I know. I want to do unpaved. This year, it's always what's the date this year?
October 9th. October 9th.
I might actually be around.
It's
I-
that long weekend.
I do on the weekends I do weddings, and the fall is like busy always.
Yeah.
I am also my other race that I'm doing, which is sort of like a big one for me that I'm planning on is actually I have 2 races. I'm doing Badlands in Spain. You may not have heard of it, but it's this
I
big
have heard of it.
Yeah.
bike packing race. I think it's like 450 miles. So that will be my first like multi overnight one. So that's going to be cool. And then we're going, some of the girls on my team are going to the BC BR gravel race, stage race that they're having in September, right at the end of September. So that'll be really cool to see that. I think this is the second year they'll have had the race.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You got a busy schedule there.
Yeah. Busy in this fall and then in the spring. And July and August, I'm just like chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Gravista.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Let's deep dive now into Gravista. Give us your elevator pitch for your race when you tell people about your event, what's it all about.
Okay. I've copy and paste like the like race details like 500 times, but I don't have it memorized. So Gravista, it's a gravel race in Buena Vista, Virginia, which is the reason why it's called Gravista, gravel, Buena Vista. Anyway, it is really pretty, starts at a city park and goes up and over the Blue Ridge Mountains. There are 2 routes that take you on different Forest Service roads in that area, and you're in the George Washington National Forest. So it's really pretty.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's pretty remote. So it's kind of cool. It's got that like, it's sort of like, Grusk a little bit where you're like kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but you're truly, once you get up and out of town, you don't go into any major areas. You do ride on the parkway just a little bit, which is fun. It's cool to see that, the Blue Ridge Parkway. And there are 2 routes. Like I mentioned, there's the Stokes 60, which is 67 miles, and a whopping 8,700 feet of climbing.
That's a lot of climb for 67 miles.
It's a lot of it's a lot of climbing. Actually, I think it's 8,500 feet. That's what it is. 67 miles, 8,500 feet.
I did Beach Mountain Metric, and it had similar numbers, and I still think it's one of the hardest rides I've ever done because it's so much elevation in a short distance that you're always climbing. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, you're going up or down.
Yeah.
It's like one or the other. And if that's too much for you, then there's the Worthy 30, and it's called the Worthy because it's also a worthy route. It's challenging. It's 34 miles and 4,500 feet of climbing.
Yep.
So it's definitely challenging. That one is a little has a little less gravel. It's got a section on the parkway, so you do get a little reprieve after the first climb, and you get to see you're at the parkway and you can see to both sides of the ridge. It's really pretty.
Now, what is the event date?
It is June 25th. The event starts at 8 a.m. for the longer ride and 9 a.m. for the 30 mile. And we have a packet pickup on Friday at a brewery, live music, lots of cool things going on. And actually at the event, we'll have live music. There's, with your race entry, you get a meal. So there's a pizza truck. We've also got a taco truck that's going to be there. And we'll have live music, and you can camp at the park that's available. So it's a big party. It's on a Saturday, so people can stay in the area. And then we have a group ride on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. that my team is leading. So if people are in the area and they want to do, a chill ride, like a shakeout ride, we have a 1-hour group ride from Lexington, which is the town just over from where the race is, and it's where I live.
What are the number of riders, and you got any caps?
I would not say I have a cap yet. We're about 130 registered right now. It's a month and a half away. And my goal is hopefully 400. I think it'll happen. People always wait till the last minute. If you're listening, and sign up.
Yeah.
Don't wait till the last minute.
I think that's sort of a spill out from COVID. People have just gotten into this mindset of, I want to kind of wait until something gets a little closer before I make plans, because people just don't Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Do you need volunteers?
Yeah.
It's annoying. The only annoying thing, I shouldn't say this out loud, it's annoying, it is annoying, is that, well, when you're planning a race and you're budgeting for things like t-shirts or whatever, riders get a bandana, and I ordered plenty of bandanas so that everyone could have one. But we have a custom Gravista Rich Supply sock, and I got it's super rad. It's the colors of Gravista. It's our brand colors and everything. But I can't order 400 pairs of socks if I don't know that those people are going to register. So I have a cutoff date of basically the end of this week. So if you register after, you're not necessarily guaranteed to get a sock because you waited too long. So that's the only bummer.
And those socks, you do not want to miss out.
No.
That's right.
They're
Rich Supply
worth
socks.
just the entry alone.
I just messaged Matt Hawkins today and told him about his socks. Because he
What
needed
did you
to hear. He needed to. Joey's just looking at me and laughing now.
You ask him why we have like 12 just singles with no pairs in our. It's like, do you sell individuals?
They're so
Do
colorful.
you
I don't know.
sell individuals?
We have a sock monster in our laundry room.
I've given you the pro tip on that before. Pin them together with but they're so colorful. How could you? I don't understand you guys with your socks, but okay, whatever.
Your dog probably eats them or something.
No, it's me. I'm terrible with the laundry. Like, it's the only household chore I'm supposed to be able to do, and I can't do it. Like, I'm so bad at it.
Just make sure your kitten ears don't end up in the wash. You don't want that to happen. So registration is open, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, on Bike Reg.
And so Bike Reg, and so just search Bike Reg for Gravista, and you will find it. And we will encourage all of our listeners to sign up. And then also Joey just alluded to, and this has been Joey's drum beat.
First of the year it started.
For this whole 2022, I'll let him ask the question.
Oh, do you need volunteers?
Oh, do I need? Yes, absolutely. If anybody is interested, we have a sign up page for volunteers on Bike Reg. It's a free. Just go in. Last year when I planned the event, I wasn't sure I was going to have it. So it was last minute, not last minute, but it was like I didn't have a ton of volunteers. That we were doing it on the skimp. And this year, thankfully, we do have a lot more people interested in volunteering. But we still need more volunteers. So if anyone is interested, you get a t-shirt, and you get a meal, and you get a drink ticket. And we also have, for those people who don't enjoy drinking, we have a non-alcoholic beer sponsor for the race this year. Athletic Brewing is going to be there with all kinds of different types of non-alcoholic beer. So, and they also have their seltzer, which is cool. Their day pack seltzers, which are
I actually
delicious.
have heard very good things about their seltzer.
So good.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
Joey is an experienced master of ceremonies. That was his duties there at Croatan. So,
Well, I just signed up as a volunteer. Matt did that. But I was picking up trash and everything after.
I know.
People need to do that because you don't like.
Yeah.
People are lazy and they need to work an event to realize.
okay.
I'm just saying.
Wow, he's abrupt today.
I'm cranky.
Funny.
I started working like 13 hours ago today.
Tuesday.
God,
Hi, Joey.
good grief.
I'm just
Joey.
saying people need to volunteer.
I would agree.
I'm going to say it
They
every
do need to
episode.
volunteer.
Give back. We should say it every. What's the best bike setup look like?
Yeah, good question. You can run, I would say as small as 32 tires, maybe 30, but honestly, I wouldn't run any smaller. If you can ride a 35 or even a 38, you're going to have more fun. There are some like very normal gravel roads where it's just the 57s or whatever the gravel is called. No major embedded rock, but there are definitely some roads that have embedded rock on them, and it's not the whole road, so you can find a line through, but when you're going downhill and you're riding over it, if you're riding on 32s, it's not going to be super comfortable. If you have tubes, if you ride tubes, make sure you have at least two. In my opinion, that would be the best suggestion. I would ride tubeless if you can, but obviously everyone's situation is different. And then the other big important thing besides tire size is climbing gears. It is not a good idea to come with road gears. You will hate me afterwards. and that's where somebody coined the hashtag WhyWagonWhy, which is after my Instagram name is Wagon. So it's everyone afterwards will say WhyWagonWhy because they were not smart and they rode on road gears. But no, definitely lots of climbing gear because it's a climbing race for sure.
Any event sponsor shout outs you want to get those folks in?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we have Athletic, which is super cool. I myself have really enjoyed drinking in the Athletic brewing. They have lots of tasty like sours and IPAs and all kinds of things. Also, 3T is the title sponsor of the race this year, which is super cool. We also have a new challenge. The first climb of the race is a KOM QOM point.
Cool.
So it is sponsored by Hunt Wheels, and the winners get a set of wheels from Hunt, which is awesome. They get a pair of the 35 carbon gravel discs X wide, which is what I have on my bikes. They're wonderful.
Excellent.
Yeah, super cool. So
I'll put my Garmin in my Prius.
I was gonna say.
God, you didn't say that.
Yes.
I was gonna say. So I only have to be the first one up the mountain, and then I thought to myself, "Nah, that is a lot of work. Like I am good. Like
Yep. Yeah. Well, it'll make it fun. I think it'll be really exciting because the first climb it's a challenging one. I love it. It's my favorite climb ever. So it's like for the fast people, 20 minutes, 20 to 25. So yeah.
See you in a couple hours, boys.
right, like one mountain. I was just thinking to myself, like, good grief.
And we've already established, if folks are looking for more information, go over to Bike Reg and search for Gravista. But what's the website?
It's RIDE, Gravista.com.
And I was visiting it a little earlier today, and it looks fantastic.
Thank you.
So-
Thanks. I do everything myself. So although I did not make my logo,
Oh yeah.
but the logo this year, a huge improvement,
It's
super
really cool.
exciting. If you haven't seen it yet, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, the colors on your website kind of closely resemble, Joey, our kit from Conway that just rolled out. Kind of that OD greeny with the tans and kind of super cool. So we're all behind that.
Nice.
Hey, Cynthia, thank you very much. You want to stick around for this or that? So please say yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, because they're all Rockstar 250 themed this or that. I dove deep into this one. Cynthia, I'm going to toss it over to you for the first answer. Then Jess, you get to chime in.
Holla.
Then I will answer, and then Joey will muck it up in place of Wes. First item, Cynthia, neck deep in raging river in the dark time or neck deep in a raging river in the light time?
Dark.
Dark, really? Surprise. You don't see what's coming, right? Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Well,
that's my answer.
maybe you just like, it's going to happen. So might as well.
Just let it go, Jess.
I am petrified that there'd be snakes in there.
Okay.
Like, is it a river or is it what is it?
Like a
it's
water crossing. Like you could see across it, and it's just flowing water like a stream, and then all of a sudden it's neck deep and
Nope.
full of snake. You're not
I'm
going to do it
good.
at all. You're going to turn around and go back the other direction?
I'm good. I
Okay.
really should read that David book about the mindset thing, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
embrace the suck.
I like really honestly do. I like look at something's too hard and I'm like, nah, peace out. I'm good. Like, so I really have to be able to like get knee deep in the suck,
So I understand the allure of dark time and not really knowing what you're getting into, but I would have to say I would much rather do that in the light
the
time.
daytime?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the light time. Joey?
Well, considering I'm spending all next week chest deep in water fishing, I want to go. I want to do it at night because I don't want to see.
Yeah.
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 Second item, Harrisonburg or Roanoke?
Oh, Roanoke.
Okay. That, if you don't know, Rockstar goes from Harrisonburg to Roanoke.
Well, I do know, but thank you, Brian.
Okay.
However, my sister-in-law is from Roanoke. I don't know if you're a UVA person, but my family's Virginia Tech people.
Okay.
So my brother and his wife got married at Virginia Tech. The Hokie Bird was at their wedding. She is from Roanoke, I don't think her parents understand a word of things my family says because we talk so fast.
Yeah.
And we have a strong New Jersey accent.
Oh, yeah.
And like I honestly think these people just look at us and stare and are like, what are they talking about? And they've been married for like 12 years, you know?
I would go with Roanoke.
I'm going to Roanoke, too.
I've been to both. Roanoke, super cool breweries.
Harrisonburg is JMU, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harrisonburg is JMU.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going Roanoke. I spent more time in Roanoke, so I probably have an affinity a little bit for that direction. But Joe,
I think I've spent much time in either.
yeah,
My sister went to VMI, so we were in the middle
Oh,
of
hey.
everything.
That's where I live.
I don't know. I've been to Harrisonburg once.
okay. So you're going with Harrisburg.
There
Yes,
was-
it's not a big decision.
I was like, I don't have anything to argue with that one.
There was just a marathon in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Because
Yeah,
they have that big star, and my friends
Yeah.
were all posting about this Blue Ridge Marathon. And I was like, I saw what they were climbing. I was like, no way. Like, no.
I was at a brewery one time, and the Hokey Bird came in. It was the Lone Star, something star. It was like underneath I don't know what it was, but everybody got all excited when the bird came in.
That's funny.
That was a good story.
Third item: horseflies or a swarm of gnats.
A swarm of gnats.
Yeah, me too. Same.
Easy,
Same.
easy,
Let's
easy.
all just say
Horseflies
gnats.
hurt.
Yeah, horseflies are horrible, and they
Horseflies
chase you.
Yeah, they're
They-
bad.
Yeah, did I say that somewhere? I was being chased by a horsefly.
Oh, it was in your ride
Oh,
description
okay.
on
This is
Instagram.
stalker
Yeah,
status. Yep.
I was literally. It was and I was pissed. I was in a bad mood at the time too. So and I was like feeling terrible, but I had to go super hard to get rid of it. I guess in the long run, it was good for me.
They're horrible. The deer flies and the
Ugh.
horseflies. I just,
Ugh.
I would definitely go through. And we encountered a swarm of gnats on the towpath a couple weeks ago when they first hatched, and it was so bad you had to ride with your hand in front of your face to keep them from going like in your nose and
Ugh.
mouth. Ugh. Okay, this last one is geared more towards an event director. The porta potties don't show up, or the post-race food doesn't show up.
Well, luckily we have in-hole toilets at the park, so I would say the porta potties don't show up.
Cool.
I was looking up those kits where you can pee in the woods that she was talking about. Those, I was looking them up. The Valleccio, the one with the things.
Yeah, the fly free.
Yeah, I was looking that up because I'm just gonna pee in the woods now. That's my new thing.
Okay.
I think
They're the best.
I think yeah. So
And didn't you? I'm going to go ahead and finish this out, but I want to circle back because you had wanted to ask Cynthia about the Valleccio.
I
The
was
kits.
once
Okay.
she said that I googled them immediately and I was like I want to hear more about the
Oh, they're
Valleccio
so good.
brand. You know.
Yeah, you've been
Yeah.
looking at those.
I was
Yeah.
on a big event tour last year, and we had 2 rest stops where the porta potties didn't show up, and that is a train wreck.
Is it really?
Oh my goodness! I'd much rather not have the food show up than not have the porta potty show up.
So should every rest stop have 1 or 2 porta potties? Depends on how big the race is, I guess.
In the race, yeah, we had people on that event that were the.
It's full of boomers.
Well, the
They're
rest
not
stop.
going to go in the
Oh no! You want to hear what they did? You want to hear what they did? It was a
We're young.
like daycare, and they were going
Exactly.
round behind the building in front of the little kids out on the playground.
Oh no.
And we got an earful. I couldn't believe they were doing that. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Joey,
Oh my gosh.
you don't care one way or the other, right?
I'd rather. I don't know. I don't know what I would pick. If I was a race director,
Yeah.
that'd be horrible either way.
It's
I wouldn't
horrible
want
either
to
way.
be
Yeah, I
one.
was
It's
gonna
horrible
say,
either way.
not the food not showing up. That's like, oh my
I
God.
you
would
can
say
always-
food not showing up because that'd be a little.
You guys call
yeah.
Domino's and like, I don't know, pull
Yeah.
an audible on that one. But porta potties are harder to come by in emergency situations. That's something you got to plan for. Well, Cynthia, thank you very much for joining
yeah.
us. It's
Thanks
about
for having
time
me.
for us to shut it down, but it's always a pleasure to chat with you and to hear
Yeah.
about all those adventures. And everybody go check out Gravista.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thanks for chatting, y'all. Really appreciate you having me here.
Sure thing. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt. If you enjoyed the podcast, share it with a friend. That's all I'm going to say. Just do that. That helps us out. And no reviews, no Patreon, like pleads or anything like that, just share it with a friend. Joey, how can folks get in touch with us?
Well, they could volunteer because I said this last episode and the one before.
Can we?
That's how they can help us out.
Can we
Anyway.
have volunteers for the podcast?
No.
Okay.
They have to volunteer to take Blake. That was my joke for the other one, and now there's just for the night, just for a few hours.
The graveltraveldirt.com and our Instagram is at MinutelakeGTD. Our hats, I don't know when this will come out if we have any hats left. We'll have a couple bits of cutaway kit left, and Philip's going to reopen that up. So
Cool. Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt is recorded this week from out there in Virginia all the way to here in Blake's Kitchen in Solomon's Island, Maryland. Thanks, everybody, for riding along. Till next time, do good, be nice, go slow, respect others.
Love you, bye.
love you, bye.
I beat him.
Bye.
Love you, bye.